Hold on, Instagram. Oh, man. Hopefully I can hear me on Instagram. Test, 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 test. Hey, I was going to shoot this as a video, but I'm just going to shoot it live so I don't have to go back and edit it. Let's go. What's up? What's up? You know you can hear me on YouTube. I assume you can hear me, man. I've had some audio problems as of late. Let's see, loud and clear. Cool, because I got a special mic on. Let's turn off. Nope, not questions. Let's turn off commenting. There we go. I don't know why it does this dark on the right-hand side. It's so weird. All right, man. So, my cat is here. So, let's talk about portfolios for a second. A lot of times when people will come to me, you know, obviously I'm no financial advisor and I can't tell people how to invest. I can point you to strategies that have been there for a long time. And if you have my book, You Don't Have to Die Broke, on chapter 10, if you have that, if you go there and read it, that's always the first strategy that I recommend to anyone learning to do stocks is to go through that. Hold on a second. Anybody want a cat, man? This cat's driving me crazy. In chapter 10, if you go through there, Dogs of the Dow, one of the simplest strategies, but what this does is it gives you a blueprint or path or at least a start in something in the stock market that's been working for like 100 years, okay? 100 plus years. Obviously, you got to figure out where you're going to custodial. So if you're trying to build wealth, become a wealthy person, have means, meaning have assets that give you money if you're not working, that's a great way to get to, I mean, that's financial freedom, man. And that freedom can start at a much lower number than you would anticipate, meaning owning 10 or 20 stocks in 5 or 6 houses can open up your career because now you have money coming in that isn't necessarily from work. So then you could go and seek and try to get the job you want. You got more options. Just having more wealth in your life makes everything that you're going to try to do in the future even, it gives you an edge, man. That's what it does. It gives you an edge and it gives you options. And this is not all of mine. I'm in just to keep ship simple. So I have partnership that I'm in, another part of an LLC. So to keep all of that simple, I just left that off of here. Taxes can get complicated as you build out your life, as you become more sophisticated. You might get in on real, syndication deals. You might get in on an apartment building or a commercial deal. You might partner up with someone, and then that creates a whole nother thing you got to think about, right? Taxes and management of this wealth that you create for yourself. But all of that starts in the very beginning where I say chapter 1, the money flow. You have a well, right? And to keep it simple, on mine, I put it over here, the well is your main source of income. So you have to work, you somehow have to generate money or profits, either income or profits, right? Either you may be a 1099 person, maybe you have a business, you have a job, you have something. And if you have a job, what I did, the blueprint that I used was I had a job. All right, we got a few people. I had a job. And then I started a side business. Originally, I was in the Army. And I got that business going pretty well, where I was making almost as much at that as I did my job. And then I went to working part-time. So part-time gave me some money, and then it gave me 5 days a week to get out there and try to build my other business. Well, once I got that going and I put systems in place, right, that freed me up to look at other things. And the first thing you want to start with in business is like, what's a symbiotic relationship? Like if I mow yards, maybe I could install gutters, or if I do this, I do that. Meaning it's just simple. It's in layup. It's right there, right? And sometimes you can find money in what they call symbiotic relationships, and one thing leads to another. babysitting leads to house sitting, which leads to pet sitting, which leads to being a realtor, which leads to having relationships and flipping properties with these people who used to, like I'm saying, that's the way life kind of revolves and rolls out. It's never going to be exactly the way you plan. But what this wealth stuff is a way for us to store our money. So this is 80 assets right here. Now, I really have like 117. It got a little tedious just to keep going. The top 24 of these you see all have at least 10,000 plus. So the 24 positions here you see have at least $10,000 more, with the highest being around 30. Now, when the market was at its heyday, it was about $1 million. $1 million. So I store money into the stock market using my phone most of the time. And it looks like this. Now, here's the thing. I haven't added to this stock, I don't know, 6, 7 years. Am I thinking on here? I haven't added to it in 6 or 7 years. I just collect dividends. So 6 or 7 years ago, I bought like $6,000, $7,000 of Pepsi, and for the last however long, I've actually owned it 12 years. I spent a couple years buying shares, and I haven't since. And so it's an asset that I own that just continues to throw a little drip. And the accumulative drip of all of this is right now about $2,700 a month. It's not a fortune. Now that money's tax sheltered. I don't pay any taxes on that, which is good because I'm in a high tax bracket. So I know every month the cumulative of these 80 plus stocks will give me $2,700. Now I'm obviously rounding, okay? It's like 2,700 and whatever. That money will be dispersed either how I want to disperse it, which sometimes I do. Let me give you an example. ET recently, you may have noticed, paid me a $260-something dividend. I had it go to cash. Another one, MLPX, had it go to cash. Another one, Exxon, cash. Chevron, cash. ConocoPhillips, cash. This one, not cash, because ETRN is an energy asset, but it's still undervalued. Now, what is that? That's just studying my portfolio. Like, I need to read these. I need to understand what these are, right? And as these pay me money, I can allocate it in this portfolio, what I think could be better. And we can, as time times amount times yield, if we can figure this out, if we begin to study, we could roll those money, right, into things that we think are undervalued. We could raise cash. Maybe you're like, fuck, it's tough time. Just give me my money in cash. And every month this is piling up, 2,700, 2,700, 2,700, 2,700, 2,700, 27. And then you deploy it into one position. You could do it like that. You could let this stack up. And then the day you decide you want to start bringing this money home, I'm trying to get this to $3,000. That's my goal right now. I could let it stack up, and then say, okay, just send it to me. Just transfer it to my bank. And then this money transfer to your bank. The moment you play that game, though, you're paying taxes on that. Right now, it's tax-free. So if I don't need the money, I don't want to pay any taxes. I'll let that grow tax-free. Does that make sense? Now, your numbers could be 10 times larger. Oh, we got 106 people. How about that? Now, I'm going to be honest, the way I've done this, all of the money that I have in the stock market, I say all of it, not all of it, but the majority of it came from my renters, these people over here. So hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have rented from me. And so I bought the property, I fixed it up, I provided them a place to live, and then they give me money. And about anywhere from 10 to 40% of that is profit for me. Depends on the deal. And what I've tried to do to lower my taxes on my earned income side, because remember I had a W-2 or I'm getting 1099s, so I'm having to report income, right, to the IRS. I gotta pay my taxes. But they offer things you can do like IRAs, right? IRA, SEP IRA. So a lot of you are probably looking at Roths. Well, pretty early on, I didn't qualify for a Roth. I made too much money. Because if I'm making money over here collecting rent, plus I'm working a job making money, plus I have a side business making money, right? And all of a sudden you make 10, 15, 20,000 a month, right? You're not going to qualify for everything. Some things are going to be more complicated or different. You're going to have tax, you got to pay taxes, right? You got to have insurance. You're You may have an accountant. Maybe now you're dealing with an attorney. Maybe you have a property manager you're dealing with. So now you got a property manager you got to pay. Now you got pest controls. You got 20-something insurance policies. You've got 7, 8 bank accounts. Like all this money's coming. You got to watch it, man. And so this begins to require attention. What you think about comes about. What you focus on grows. In the early days, people really aren't paying that much attention because the balance isn't that big. But all of a sudden you get where you got, say, $15,500 in rent coming in this month. And then you got $2,700 in dividends coming in. That has nothing to do with your job. This is passive, right? So what would that be? 15, what is that? 19,000? That has nothing to do with royalties. That has nothing to do with any interest you might be getting. Nothing to do with a W-2 job. Nothing to do with your business, right? Because this, I mean, how much attention does this take? Not much. Right? So all of a sudden, if you're making $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month, it has nothing to do with a job, but you work a job, all of a sudden you make way more money than everyone around you. Plus, a lot of these assets can grow tax-free. So I'm not paying any taxes on this. So when this money goes into here, if it appreciates, remember, if it goes back to $1 million and say we keep going, there's no taxes on that. It's tax sheltered. So if this goes to $2 million, which, you know, the S&P averages, this is basically, you built a fund, basically. You know, people are like, well, index funds, you know, being a passive investor is like, it's fine. I have that too, right here. I have about $50,000 or so, maybe a little more in the SPY. If it's on sale, I buy some. But I can buy the stocks inside of the SPY that pay a higher dividend and also may be more undervalued, right? And I can begin to spread that out. And this gives me options where if I have all my money in one thing, you know, when the market's down, I'm going to sell shares on that one thing. That's the thing I've always hated, is it begins to limit your options. So if I have, say, 15 houses or 17 houses, I got options. I could refinance this deal. I could pull equity out. If it's all in one deal under one loan, I don't have as much flexibility, as many options. So sometimes having these houses, you could go back and refinance these. Maybe you put these on a 15-year note, and at the end of 15 years, this one's paid for. Now you go pull the equity out. So now instead of now every year you're refinancing and walking out with a check, right? So all of a sudden you have options. So if you have one house, you're gonna have equity. Well, if you got 17 houses, you got 17 times more equity and 17 times more options, right? And again, this doesn't have anything to do with your job. So you can own 100 houses and work your job. And the guy who owns 100 houses and works a job makes way more money than you do at your job. And he works a job. So you see the advantage of this once you start getting into this, where these assets pay you money, man. Let me see if I can. I'm on a phone. Okay. Helen says, I want to contact your books. Contact me. Hit the link, Helen. Come on, man. All right, so debt. I carry debt. You're going to carry debt. You've all heard good debt, bad debt, whatever. It's debt. And when they say good debt, they mean it's debt that generates money. So these are houses. I bought one at a time just to give you a visual representation of houses. Now, I haven't bought a lot of houses recently. I bought a beach condo and I bought a house in New Orleans. But before that, it had been 2 or 3 years since I bought a deal, because in my area, my pattern, my blueprint, if you ever see me talk about the 9 thoughts on getting rich, number 3, structure your life around it. The blueprint or number 2 was find a blueprint or a path that's duplicatable. Because you got to be able to do it more than once. Mine was buying 2-bedroom, 1-bath houses. Well, in my area, those are all bought up. Landlords own them all. You know, small town, there's only 14,000 houses. And there's guys like me that own, 30, 40 houses. And they're just not. And the ones that come up for sale, they want like 150. I mean, you put 30% down in my cash flow, but my wedge isn't working. Well, then along this time, I've hit a point in life where it's like, I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to stay somewhere because I have to stay there. Like, oh, we have to live here. It's like, no, I'm free. I can move. The reason I worked to become a multimillionaire was to do what the fuck I wanted to do, when the fuck I wanted to do it. So if I decide I don't want to live here anymore, I don't want to live here anymore. I'll go buy a house over there. That's the whole point to me doing all of this, writing my book, You Don't Have to Die Broke, buying stocks, trying to own my own business, this concept of the 8th day, pushing, trying to stay debt free, like to live on purpose like that. A lot of people, they call it the FIRE community, right? Financial independence, retire early. I've never heard of that. So first time I had heard of that, I'm like, well, shit, I've been doing that. I didn't know we had a name for it. And all it was, the purpose of that for me was preservation, selfishness. Meaning if you got $1 million in this, man, you have some protection. You have some leverage between you and the world. You have room, right? You have time. So I pick these up one at a time. And in some areas, that's not what works. What works is buying, say, a building with 3, 4, 5 units. Something works where you live. Some angle of real estate works where you live. Don't try to take someone else's angle and bring it to bumfuck whatever Nebraska. It may or may not work there. You got to look around your area and look at real estate. Real estate is land. People think it's houses. It's land. It's a house on land that has septic, electricity, police protection, roads, trash pickup. Because if you go build a house where they don't have those amenities, your house isn't worth much. So at the end of the day, what we're buying is land. And you have a structure on the land. The structure is going to be fixed and remodeled and worked on. And the sun and the rain and the people in it are going to destroy it. And the government understands this, and they give you this thing called depreciation. And it's one of the 4 ways you make money in real estate, right? Is a depreciation. What that does is tax shelter it, man. Remember I talked about over here, tax sheltering it. The more of your wealth or money you can get into vehicles where you don't pay taxes, meaning you get money, but there's no taxes. Think on this. At a job, if they give you $100, you pay taxes. There are people who get money but pay no taxes because they make money in a system where there are no taxes. And usually that looks like through lending. They're borrowing the money out. And that's one thing that people like about real estate is when you borrow money out of real estate, you get to put it into your checking account, right? But now you have a loan, you're like, yeah, but that loan gets passed off to the person living in the house. And so it allows you to accumulate tax-free money that you can eat it, you can buy a car with it, but you could also take it and buy more shit that grows, that gives you more tax-free money in the future. And then you could do it again and again and again and again. And that's how people get rich, man. They just start stacking doors. And I don't even have that many, guys. I don't have that many. And I meet guys now and they got 50, 60, not me. I mean, I didn't. I bought one a year. My blueprint was so simple. I would just save up money and I would buy one property and I would keep working. And so I'm always doing something as a well, some way of primarily to make money. Make money, feed family. And then I need money that I don't need. Meaning I need a lot of money. If I can get $2,000 or $3,000 a month that I don't need, getting rich is just a matter of time. Time times amount times yield. So if you can get 2,000, 3, some people got 5, 10, 15. So when I meet people that make enormous sums of money, it's like, how in the fuck are you not richer, dude? God, you could be so rich. But they consume a lot of that money. So if you're consuming 3, 4, 5, 6,000 a month, once you understand time times amount times yield, and you're getting 20% returns tax-free over here, you're getting like your wealth begins to grow exponentially, and the wealth is giving you money. So that begins to happen here. Like I didn't put these houses are worth, I don't know, I always round down, say 2.2 million. I didn't put 2.2 million in it. And on the 3 that I use for my personal homes and my office, probably $1 million total, right? So that's 3.2. I owe 637. That's not a very high debt leverage, man. Okay? And so I've always tried to keep my debt leverage reasonable. I've had my debt where I've owed as much as $1 million, and that's cool. As long as you're collecting money, make your payment, you're just going to grow richer and richer and richer. So if you can borrow 10 million, good. 20 million, good. As long as you can manage it, as long as you can see it, right? As long as you can control it. So I can control 17 properties with our family, meaning we don't need a manager, no big deal. Collect 15,000. I mean, you probably collect 25, 30,000 by yourself. You don't need help on that. You don't need a manager. You don't need help on that. You don't need an accountant. You don't need an attorney, right? You don't need any of that. So a lot of that money is yours. So as that money comes in, then you could be like, fuck, I don't want to go to work. Or maybe I take that money and I bang out the mortgage at my house. Now I got no mortgage. I pay cash for cars. I'm bringing in 20,000 a month, whether I go to work or not, right? These things happen when you begin to first eliminate debt and then invest. We talked about the 9 thoughts on getting rich, chunks of money. So not little, chunks of money is what we need to think. And, I drip daily, but at the end of the month, it needs to be a chunk of money. Like that's a chunk of money, $2,700, right? $15,000 coming in. That's a chunk of money. What if we don't need this and this month and we can just push it over here, buy something else that now what? Next month, the chunk goes bigger, right? Now, our only job is not to fuck it up, but just let it grow. But all that's going to start with one stock, one property. Everyone's in the real estate game. Sometimes when I meet, they act like they're not. It's like, no, you own a property. Are you maximizing the real estate you own, where you live? Like, there's things you could do to make your house more valuable. You might roll up out of it into another deal, put a renter in that one, or sell that one to then buy like 3. Like, there's so many things. You're in the real estate game. You're just not actively participating in it. Meaning there is some way for you to maximize acquiring. Here's an example. Like, think this through. I recently bought a beach condo, right? And it was a property. I paid cash for it because I knew it would produce enough cash flow that if I went and financed a house over here, it would more than cover it. Or I could just go pay cash for mine. So now I got it. I don't have a payment. Cool. But what if instead we take that money and I go borrow $350 at 4.2% because I'm pretty sure rates are going up. So let's go borrow and I'll pay cash for that. That'll pay the loan. And then if it doesn't rent, we don't have a big overhead on that, right? And so it's like, okay, how can we turn one, instead of getting just one property, how do we get 2? Because now we got 2. And over time, both of them are going to go up in value. So instead of having 350,000 something in cash, we now have 700 something thousand that produces cash flow, and they're going to appreciate. What happens over 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, if you're making decisions like that? And so it's not just average decisions. Okay, house just for me and my family. Okay. How do you get rich doing that? You can't get rich just sitting at your house. Like, you have to push out. You have to take on more responsibility. Same with getting your money. Like, so if you have money sitting in checking, okay, but you can't get more money if your money's sitting in checking. But in this game, these things right here, they're all going to go up and down, man. So right now, as interest rates come down, this probably will get repriced. Like, maybe some of the shit I paid will go down. The overall net worth out of it will go down, right? So if you got 17 of them and properties come down 20%, and you say your shit's worth $3.5 million, what's 20%? That's like $600 and something thousand. Can you stomach that? Is that cool? You can float that, right? You're going to be okay with that? What if you have to lower your rents? What if you have to lower your rents, right? What if some of these stop paying dividends, right? Delta stopped. Where's Delta? We got Delta on here. Delta stopped on me. Should have. There it is. Delta stopped on me, right? Maybe you pick up some stuff and it goes down. Hasbro's gone down. Zim's gone down. Oil's gone way up, right? Way up. But we were buying those. Remember, for a while, they were going down, man. I used to get heckled. I was saying buy Exxon at 50. And then I was saying buy Exxon at 27. Right? Buy Zim at 50. Buy Zim at 24. Buy Ford at 9. Oh, buy Ford at 4. Right? Buy Penitent at 7, buy it at 3.5. Oh wait, we're back to 7 now. And the whole time getting paid dividends, right? I mean, Ford felt 70-something%. You know, we got that going on with Tesla now. So this begins to give us options. And it's okay. The balance can go down. I did this video on Twitter. You go back and look, it's like 4 years old. I accidentally unpinned it like a dipshit. Because the comments were funny, man. That was when everything was hot and running. And I said, why I don't care if stocks go down. And I was showing these, and I was showing how much my dividends were coming in. And man, I got heckled in that thing. And then like now it's like, it hasn't doubled, but it's a shit ton more. This has come way up since that video. The balance has come way up since that video. It's still collecting money. And I'm wondering, all those people that were saying shit in the comments, you know, I wonder where their wealth is 4 years later, because those weren't the hot stocks. You know, buying Campbell's and Starbucks wasn't as cool as buying a, you know, ARK or some growth funds that were flying. And it's like, can you handle those? Can you hold those? And a lot of people are going through that now. They're going to spit out their growth stocks because they can't handle the down move. Just when they should have capitalized on it and bought more of what they originally thought, they'll bail out and buy this, and then this will come down and that'll go up. And they'll catch themselves always on the wrong side of the cash register. You say, well, how do you capture it? Stay in the fucking cash register. Get it? So if housing prices come down, good. I can get a couple more. So when they go back up, instead of being 2.2, this shit's 3.2. Because if you didn't notice, my last deal cost $312,000. My first deal cost $7,000.5. It's growing exponentially. My next deal, it's going to be 312 down on a 1.2 million. It's growing exponentially. You get what I'm saying? So this started with one stock, which was AT&T, and like a $4 dividend. Now it's closing in on 3,000. This is not my main thing, man. So I meet a lot of guys, stocks are their main thing. I had a mill. Stock market pulled back, crypto pulled back, growth pulled back, right? And that's their main thing. No, my main thing is real estate, man. I put the profits from real estate, I tax shelter them. I don't like the government getting my shit, man. So if they offer me a program and they're like, hey, Gerald, you can put $58,000 in a SEP IRA. Cool. Let me put $58,000 of my renter's money in that, and you lower my taxes on my working money. Let's do that deal. Here's the deal I want to do. Other people have my money. All of the money you want is in the pockets, purses, wallets, checkbooks, and credit cards of other people. I'm not paying these fucking houses off. Other people are. Other people have my money. I'm not paying for that. Matter of fact, the money I put in, I didn't pay for that. It's still there. So if I put 30 into a house, my 30 stays there. It goes up. Everything after that, someone else pays for it. Someone else pays the mortgage and the taxes and the insurance. Someone else gives me money to do that. They're giving me money to keep my money. These people are paying me rent to keep my money. When you get this concept, it's like, how in the fuck am I not doing this with all my money? This is way better than working. You can go out there and work every day, 5 days a week. This shit will pay your descendants generations down the road more money than they'll ever make working. So that job you have now is not going to pay your grandkids jack shit. This stuff will still be there. Your grandpa could have left you all the Coca-Cola your account could hold, but he didn't. You know why? Friction. You know why your grandparents didn't invest? It's friction. They said, well, I didn't have the money. Bullshit. I mean, you didn't have the money. Everybody has the money. What is that guy's name? Can't think of his name now. The janitor with $8 million. All he did with 35 years was just put a dollar amount in and just kept doing it. I'm sure there's tons of people like him. I posted about him. Life kicks people in the face, man. And they can never get it. And they can never get out from debt. And that's why I constantly harping on debt, because debt becomes a fucking burden when times get bad. What if a 30% of my rentals go unrented, rates come down, this gets repriced? What if it gets hard for me as a guy to hold down 3 houses? I mean, well, one's an office, but 2 are houses. So it's 3 places that I hang out in. 3 homes, guys. Think about that. So this has 2 AC units. This has one. So that's 4 AC units. What? 7 refrigerators, 12 toilets, 15 bedrooms. Who needs that? So if you add all of that up plus insurance and all this stuff, this is a lot of money for one person to have. Like, so don't you think that may be up? Like, we got to hold this, right? I can't do that if I got a bunch of debt. I got credit card. I can't keep that, man. How am I going to have a second home? I got all this debt over here. Or I owe a bunch of people on this or that. I can't, man. So the only thing that affords me a lifestyle where I don't have to work or go fuck with people is I don't owe any of them. The only people I owe is on real estate. And if you haven't noticed the relationship between my debt and how much they're worth, so 3.2 against 637, that's pretty low. I got more than 637 over here. And so if you haven't noticed, one thing, I used to try to balance these. Little game I played with myself. Meaning in storage, for me, the stock market became about storing money, man. Just store wealth. Just store some money. I don't fuck around. I give it all to real estate. I'll never have any money because it costs a lot of money to own real estate at times. It's kind of nice just to have $1 million that ain't got nothing to do with your business. So for me, this became protection for this. And this was protection from my job. And there's layers and there's it's a philosophy, man. And so I wanted to have at least as much in the stock market as I owe. Man, if I could keep that balance my whole life, it gets a lot easier to hold these properties. Also gets a lot easier to get a loan when you go, oh, by the way, I got $1 million. Can I borrow 150, please? Sure, 8.2%. Thank you, man. Right? So if we got a 750, 800 credit score, which everyone should be working on. Some of you guys are trying to invest, you got $600 credit scores. You can fix that, man. Your credit score's got to be 700 plus, irregardless of what you got going. 700 plus, get on that. Okay, no excuse for that. So we want an 800 credit score. We want $1 million in dividends, and we want at least $2 or $3 million in paid for real estate. Right? That should be every man's goal, every woman's goal, at a minimum. And the thing is, I started so late, man. Like these numbers seem so small to me now. What's going on here? All right, we're still going. I won't go too long. These numbers seem so small now as I watch and look back and think. But when I started doing this, I didn't have a high-paying job. I didn't go to college. I went to the Army. And where's my McDonald's hat? And I started doing, and I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, man. And when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was like, okay. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know, it didn't give me like step A, step B, like I try to tell people. It doesn't say go pay off your debt first. I'm always a big, because that is a win. That is a guaranteed win. Yeah, you might not have money stacked up, but if you don't owe people, it's guaranteed return. And I'm the kind of gambler that if I see guaranteed money, I take that. Before I risk money, I pick up the guaranteed money. And they're like, hey, you could buy this and it might go up 3 times or it might go 0. Or you could buy this and you double. I'll take the double. Again and again and again and again and again and again. And then when I've done that a lot and I have a bag and I have a pie, I might chip some off and go, hey, let's take that risk play. So first, I want to do the guaranteed stuff. Guaranteed. Not Bitcoin first. Guaranteed first. Like no debt, then get a Bitcoin. No debt, then go do that. No debt, to me, because now you have flexibility. Because when you're looking at investing, typically people are only seeing growth and expansion. They're seeing good times ahead. I'm going to grow my net worth. Might not go like that. Depends on when you get on the train. What if you just bought real estate and you were cash flowing about $150? Wasn't the best deal. Like I've had deals go bad. We buy the deal and the best I can get is $80 over cost. I'm basically renting this thing for free, man. That's happened to me. It's happened to everybody I know. So if that's your first deal and then we go into recession and you got a lower rent, you're now losing $20 a month. That might mind fuck you. Like you can't comprehend that. Like I'm losing money every month on a house. Well, guess what? 5 years from now, that's not the case. Meaning if you properly manage this asset into the downturn, you can position yourself because it's not going to, what's in play now is not going to stay in play. Over time, assets go higher. Over time, rent goes higher, okay? Maybe just not right now. So maybe we got to take that down. Okay, cool. And the thing's going down and you're paying on the loan and you got a high rate. And so there's going to be people blow out on that. Just like there's people going to blow out on their growth stocks and then their crypto. And they're just going to keep blowing out, man. Keep going through this fucking grinder of getting blown out. Right? But if you get rid of debt, whether you blow out or don't blow out, it's good not to have it. Right? If you just got money in dogs of the Dow dividend stocks, got 100 grand sitting there and you lose a job, it's good to have the 100 grand. Right? Like that works all the time. So we have to know when we start, so you may come over here and start buying, you buy some Zim, it drops 50%. Well, if you just join me today, I put in Discord, if you don't own this stock, you should buy it. Like 100 shares. Like this could be on a risk level, maybe it goes to zero. Maybe we go full-blown recession and that stock crumbles. But this board has said, listen, 30% of all profits is going into a floating dividend. And that fucker could be as high as 50, 60%. So the board of this company is willing to share the profits with you. But you got to share the risk with them. And so you get a choice, you know? And so you can go look, man. And this opportunity is right there. It's knocking, you know? But I said that, a while ago, and then it went down. Recession fears became realer. You know, I'm still not convinced we're going into recession. I'm not going into recession. Why, are you? I don't know. Just because everyone else says it, fuck them. What do they know? Nobody knows anything. None of your friends know. You don't know. Nobody knows. So everybody thinks they know. You don't know. You know nothing. I don't know. But I know this. Over time, assets go up, man. So I go look at it. Man, sure looks a lot better now than it did. So if a guy listened to me now, he'd be like, man, and what if this never comes back to 25? He's like, man, that was a great, man. Fuck, I should have bought 10,000. Like, it's that conversation, right? As the stock goes up. And then by the time this guy's up 30, 40, 50%, the other guy's getting even. They have a different experience with the same asset, right? Same in real estate, man. Depends on when you get on the train. But if you don't ever get on the train, you gotta play in that, man. So I may have to play in a lowering rent environment. Okay, let's play. I hope everybody else blows out. I'm buying properties, man. I'm buying stocks. I really don't care what anybody else is doing. I know what I'm doing. I have a path and a plan. It got me here, right? I got to where I'm at accumulating multi-millions by not listening to what other people were doing and not actually giving a fuck what was going on in the economy, but doing my thing, working eight days a week, job, side hustle, debt-free, accumulate properties, buy dividends, buy income, as my buddy Chris says. That is my plan. Don't give a shit what other people's plans are. Don't care what my friends are doing, my family are doing. I am getting richer every day, every fucking day. I buy at least one share. I'm doing something here to either improve it, add a bedroom, increase a rent, find a property, just, right? Or you don't. Or you don't. You just float through life. That's what most people are doing. They got a little money in checking, a little bit. You know, I don't know, man. Got a little money in checking. Have a Money Flow Gang member sends me a private message yesterday. 2 years, they're on their 8th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They had 0. Read my book. Saved up 20%. Went and bought one. They're like, wow. Now they're giving me money. And I'm making $200 to $300 a month. Then they go buy some stocks. They save up and they're like, let's do that again. Now they're getting 600, 500, 600 a month. They're buying some stocks. Wow, that worked. Let's do that again. And again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And then this money's coming in, right? Let's buy some stocks. And then the stocks now at a point, it's giving you money, right? And so that's the vision. That's the flow. That's what I'm trying to do. Because I don't own a business, guys. I don't have any employees. You know, I have contractors and people that help me from time to time, but I don't have a big business. So there's only 3 ways to get rich. 1, own a big business, bar none, best way. If you guys that are really rich own businesses. 2, invest in business. That's what this is. And if you're good at this, you could light years ahead of me. Meaning if you pick the right stocks at the right time, and people do, and you should try to do that. You should try to do that, you know. Meaning I'm taking an outsized ordinary risk on Uber, right? I don't even see it on here. Uber, no dividend. Look how high up it is on my thing. It's one of the largest positions. Speculative. I can lose all that money. I really do think I'm going to make money on that. And, you know, there's others, but that one is big. But not as big as these are guaranteed, you know. And same over here, you know. We're going to, sometimes people say, well, what about this Airbnb model if we're going into recession? Yeah, I want to own some. I want to own some in the recession. I want to own some stocks that go down in the recession. Why? So I can buy them. I mean, we're going to move all in and all out of everything. You're going to run all this shit. You're going to have all these positions and all these business things going. You're going to move in and like, come on. What you're going to be able to do is step back and see the big picture, right? You're like, okay, here's our debt. How much cash do we have? I think I was saying the other day, I got $107K in cash right now. This is down to about 6, would we say? Well, almost 700. It's right at 700. I think it was like 690. This is what it's paying, right? It means I'm collecting 32,000. So money's going into here, right? We got cash. We got rents coming in. I work. I got partnership deals, affiliate deals, sell books. I do one-on-ones, right? I also manage properties and collect rent, so I get paid from that. I try to peel off about 5. I save the other 10 to run the business. If I don't need it, if I've done well working in my sales, my flips, my profits, my other shit, if I've done well on that, I want to put as much of this into here as I can. Right? Ideally, I want to put as much of this into here as I can. Over here, the money I make working above my cost of living, I want to buy more deals if I can. Now, I'll stop this to here to do this. I just turn it down. You know, I just turn it down because we do have money going into there. So if we put nothing in here, money's coming in. And the money I collected from ET and from it was like $600 I could buy some pretty cheap shares right now of some of these growth plays if I wanted. And that's taken from my dividends to add to my growth plays, right? Because I know over time, I'm pretty sure Uber will be okay. I'm pretty sure Lyft's going to be okay and Airbnb. So let's get some of these shares down here while we're cheaper. Because over the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to be much higher. Dash is going to be much higher, I have no doubt. I have a list of like 20 of these. No doubt they're going higher. Will I be right on all of them? Absolutely not. Half of them may be terrible. Maybe 2 of them go to 0, and maybe one of them is 5, 7, 800,000x or 1,000% return. We've had as high as 5,500 in the money flow game on one stock. That's not options either. That's just shares, okay? Guys say that on options. I know I'm talking about shares. I mean, I've lost count of 400 or 500 percenters. Now, those typically aren't buy and hold stocks, but they can be. They get bought out, right? Zynga, bought out. Stamps, bought out, right? Taco, bought out. I mean, here you had 10 in, they give you 35 or 40 and say walk away. Now you got 40K and you disperse it in this game, man. Tesla's on sale right now. Trees, dirt cheap, man. Jesus. We got trade setups here, but there's some great buy and holds right here. This is on sale, 4.5% dividend yield. So if I've got 10 or 12 grand to deploy, right? I mean, we got some shots in place here. Or maybe, like right now, I want to get another Airbnb. I know a lot of you guys are scared. I'm trying to get another Airbnb. I can't listen to my followers. Shit, I would have blew out long ago. So I'm trying to buy another property in the Airbnb space. And I'm hoping some of these people bought it too high and maybe they don't like the idea of losing money every month, because fuck, I'll lose money every month on a house because I know over time it's going to go up. I'll take a loss on that. I'll buy a stock that goes down 30. Okay, whatever. Like we're not playing for tomorrow. I'm playing for life, right? So I'm trying to build a portfolio, man. So if I bring a house online, it might take 6, 7, 8 months to get it up and functioning and running because I got other shit to do, man. I got other things I'm doing. Once I get the property, it's not a rush. It's not an emergency, right? And then I can work on it, get the equity up, build it, boom, get it into service, get it into play. While that's going, maybe I go and borrow against one, right? That's tax-free money, man, right? So a lot of things you could do, man. And it starts with one house, one stock, man. One house, one stock. And, you know how to run your own business. You know how to make money at work. Nobody needs me for that. So if I was you this week, like going into the new year, here's what you do. Go look at your buy and hold. Stop trading inside of that. Get your trading out of that. Get a sacred, these accounts are sacred. Like this is going to my deathbed, man. This is sacred shit. There's none of that. If a stock comes into here, it's like an act of Congress to get it out. This is not flexible. This is not like, oh, we're going to change our mind with the winds. This is not that. This is a sacred account. So when the company goes in here, we ride or die. That's the account, ride or die. Like that's it. So I don't likely put them in there, is what I'm saying. On the trading account, go crazy. But on this, they don't come in. I think there's nothing going to happen. It's going to change it other than the CEO commits fraud. They're stealing, like FTX kind of bullshit. That's only ever happened to me twice. Okay, and you need to make it sacred. And, a lot of these things for me are sacred, the savings, all that stuff. But that's how you got to look at your buy and hold. You're never going into it. You're not borrowing against it. That's why I don't like 401ks, because people don't even think they're real. People are so disconnected from their money. It's like it's not real. And maybe that's good for some people because that's how they end up with money. But it's like, wow. You get that another man separated you from your wealth. Like there's a middleman. That'll creep you out a little bit. Be like, all right, cool, you had the kid, now let us handle it from here. We'll check in with you once a quarter, and you can say hi to your kid in the meeting. That's how most people do their money, man. They're all their wealth. They don't know what the fuck it's in, who runs that fund, what their returns are, how that's going to look in retirement. Like, get a hold of that, man. It's stupid for you to be playing in the world of stocks and doing this stuff and you don't understand your 401k. And I look at people's stuff and they got 30% in emerging markets. And I'm like, what is that? Why do you have that? Well, the guy in human resource, he's an idiot, bro. Like you can't rely on these idiots to run your money, man. And I went and looked at my brother. They had him in the dumbest things, man. The Coughlin, this and that fund. And then one of them said Vanguard 500. I'm like, bro, put all your money in there and stop with this. 40% of the S&P 500 does business overseas. It is international. It is small cap. It is the wind. Put all your money in there. You're going to get 9% a year. It's worked your entire life, your parents' life, your grandparents' life. All this nonsense they're doing to you. Go look. They used to teach, and for 20 years, I've been saying this, that what they teach traditionally is fucking stupid. Go look. What they say, that 60% in stocks, 40% in bonds, you should only have go look how well that's worked. Stupid idea. And target date funds are even dumber. You can't target date me. You don't know when I'm gonna need the money or what my goals are, what I'm trying to accomplish. You mean target it? You know what that is? That's for a blueprint of go to work, don't pay any attention to what's going on over here while we feed you to death. And you just keep working, put in a little bit, and then maybe when you're really old, you'll have a little money. That's that plan, man. Not against those, but put that shit in shit that makes sense. Not what that idiot thinks you make sense. Okay, that guy's not rich who's telling you what to put it in. And nobody rich is putting it in that shit. You don't ever see Mark Cuban on say, well, what I did is put it into Johnson's Drug Balanced Fund. No, he's out here buying real estate, buying businesses, creating wells. Like, he's not doing that, man. Nobody, Elon Musk does not do that. Elon Musk does not have a 401k. You can almost guarantee it, man. And if he does, he backdoored it with some startup shares to do some, like, he took advantage of it like that, man. And he probably doesn't have any money in a SEP IRA like I do. He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. Most of his money is sheltered anyway. So think this stuff through, man. Don't let the people at your job manage it. Like, get in there and look. What is this? Can we simplify this? Why do I have 4 funds, bro? And they're like, well, we ain't trying to shh. Just put my shit in the S&P 500. Like, that's all you got to do, man. Just put it in there. Keep adding. You're going to have a shit ton of money at the end of the day. You don't know if bonds are going to work or emerging markets or small. You don't know. That you know. It's going up. That simplifies that. And then eliminate debt. And then if you're going to come to here, man, I would really nail down on this real estate first. Your house. Your house. Your house is a real estate deal. A lot of people say your house isn't an asset. I don't know about that. Maybe they're not as smart as me. I don't know. My house is an asset. I don't know what they're talking about. My home in Texas is homesteaded. I mean, you can't sue me for it. The only person who can take this house is the IRS. It's called a homestead. Most southern states have it. Now, what if it's paid for? That's a lot of money. Sheltered. I didn't even need to buy insurance. There it is. Can't get it. It's mine. I can sell it tax-free up to $500,000. So that's a way to shelter hundreds of thousands of dollars from ever being sued or taken from you or lost in a bankruptcy, right? You get to keep your house and a mule. Some old school farmer laws from back when they were seizing everyone's farms. But a homestead is a protection. What asset has that? Bitcoin? No. So when people say that, it's like, I don't know. It depends on how you look at it, bro. I run a business out of my house. That kind of makes it a tax deduction now, right? A for-profit center. Be careful on that because you won't get the full deduction on the tax-free part when you go to sell it, but that's a whole other thing, right? Man, so much unnecessary shit out there. And if you just get this philosophy down of trying to grow yourself wealthier, making sure you're doing each component part correctly. 7 years debt-free is man, you could do a lot. Imagine what you can do in 3, 4, 5 years. You got no car payments, no this, no that. It's just money. You make the money, you get to deploy it. Man, it's night and day. Versus the guy trying to, I want to invest a little now, I want to invest a little now. So everyone, remember, go back, and I was telling people when growth stocks were flying, Bitcoin's flying, should I pay off my student loan or should I invest? And I'd say, man, get rid of the loan. Get rid of the debt. Always the answer is get rid of the debt. And then look what happened. It crashed. I bet if they put all that, they'd much rather have made that switch. That's always the answer. Being debt-free is always a good answer. Always works. Always works. I'm not talking about mortgage debt, though. So get in at work, man, before the end of the year. Make sure you got it in the right shit. And don't, if you find out what they offer, man, if you got a match, get the match. Get in the S&P and get the match. That's easy money. If they don't, do that shit on your own. Anybody can start an IRA, separate, but I wouldn't run off and do that if you're young. I would just put money into a brokerage account. We can come back to this. You can come back to that, man. First, just start stacking money. Because we probably need to fix this stuff before you fix this. But you could stack the money in dogs of the Dow type stocks, right? All these pay dividends that we buy. All these are paying big dividends, man. That's it. Hey, if you don't have my free ebook, go get it, man. You don't have to die broke. It's completely free. A lot of what I talk about, a lot of what's on this board is in there, man. As you flip through, I show you the years, and it's like, and honestly, man, I should be way further than I am. But guess what? Life. divorce, disease, disinterest, the 4Ds, man. You're going to get hit with life, lawsuits, death, sicknesses. Look, you'll see these chapter pages. It's either a house or a stock. It'll show you like how much I bought then that year. So I'm always buying either a house or a stock. Always. Every given day, I'm putting money aside for a house, or I'm buying a stock, or I'm doing a combination of both every day. And as you go through, that's what you'll see in there. And that works for any of you, wherever you're at. Stop giving me this bullshit about it doesn't work where I'm at. You don't know that. Go research. It may work with trailers, it may work with land, it may work with 5 units, it may work with something. Like, go check it out. It may work just doing it at your own house, man. Fixing your own house may be the play.